I said go if you want to go. Stay if you want to stay. I didn't care if you hung around me. I didn't care if you, well, went away. And I know you were never right. I'll admit, I was never wrong. I could never make up my mind. I made it up as I, went along. And though I treated you like a child, I'm going to miss you for the rest of my life. You see, all I need is a miracle. All I need is you. All I need is a miracle. All I need is you. Welcome back once again, episode 67. Those of you keeping count, Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show, and thank you. Are you naked? You're not buffering. Welcome back. We're very excited to have our guest with us today. I'm going to bring him on right now. Nope. I just wanted his sphincter to tighten because I'd warned him we'd be talking for 17 minutes before we got to him. I'm just back from Vegas, and boy, is my appreciation for how much Jamie hates hipsters more fully realized. Can I just say at the Palms this weekend, where Matador 21 Fest was in action?
I don't know what this means. Did Pitchfork tell him to go? I don't know.
I'm telling you, it was hellacious. I made a very large African-American and a very pasty guy from somewhere in the Midwest who got on the elevator with me laugh really hard by simply saying, how many hipsters can you get in an elevator? Because it's all day, up and down, every single floor. That's 9 more
Runs
getting up.
on their irony.
Right. Oh, my God, it was brutal. So very, very brutal. And it made me realize that why hipsters, why are you so very desperate to fit in that you wear a costume every day of your life? Not just to the show, not just to the cafe, but also to the buffet in Vegas. By the way, the skinny jeans, that part of the uniform, becomes less effective when you're no longer skinny. Jamie, Sammy, how was your last couple of days, the weekend, the week? Anything? Something?
I saw The Social Network.
You both saw The Social Network at different times. You were part of the $23 million opening.
Apparently we were.
Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
Says somebody. And let's hear your 2 reviews real quick.
Intriguing, interesting, but...
Yeah, I got a butt coming. There's a butt coming.
I'm more excited about the Twitter movie.
Are you? When do we start shooting?
Oh, we start shooting, I think, next month.
Seriously?
Yeah, why not?
Awesome.
Let's pitch the Twitter movie.
Starring Ashton
Twitter.
and Demi.
Let's do it. Let's us do the Twitter. Actually, what we need to do is sue the people who created Twitter. First.
Yeah.
And then we'll have our movie.
Now you have a motion picture. Now you have drama.
We'll get Andy Samberg in it instead of Justin Timberlake. How's that?
Man.
That's what we'll get.
Now it stinks. Well, that's all we can get.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, now I got you. And Jamie, your quick recap was kind of... felt like a 7.
It was interesting. It was all right. It was everyone's making it to be like the greatest film of the year, and it.
On Jamie's scale to 100, you're going to give it a.
I like The Town better, to be honest.
Oh, that was a good one, huh?
That was good.
That's a good movie, The Town.
Town's my favorite film of the year so far. Favorite.
I also saw a documentary this week about Harry Nilsson. It was very good.
Tell us about that one. Ooh.
Yeah, I actually wasn't very familiar with him. I went because my friend was the producer on the film, and I didn't realize how much of his music I loved.
Yeah, he put the lime in the coconut.
Yeah, I did not. Yeah, I did not know. And he wrote a bunch of songs for the Monkees too, who I love.
Which one of the songs for the Monkees did he write?
The biggest one was "Cuddly Toy." It was a Davy song.
It was a Davy Jones song, "Cuddly Toy." Also the name of my 3rd book. All right. Well,
make fun of the Monkees.
And that was the Arlene.
Was Alec.
Was Mexican.
Sizzle stick.
Is that close?
Was Alec.
Was Meso.
So you give that movie a big thumbs up. All right. Awesome. Here's good news. Once again, in September, we had over 500,000 downloads on iTunes. So thanks to all of you for all the damn love out there in podcast land. If you're joining us after the fact, we do this thing live every Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock Pacific Damon time. And if you would like to tune in live, I would encourage you to do so. I'm just going to slip in and out. My voice is lower by something because I was screaming a lot. I decided to close my show, and I did 4 shows in the Las Vegas area last 2 nights, and I decided for some stupid reason to close my shows by screaming Al Pacino, the joke, the voice in the head that tells the doctor, sell everything and move to Las Vegas.
Oh.
That's how I closed my show. But
Because
as a screaming Al Pacino. I don't know why. It just came
Well, you
over
were
me.
in Vegas.
I was in Vegas. Well, sure, the joke makes sense. The screaming Al Pacino part makes no sense. So I said, it's such a lame joke, I'm going to tell it as Al Pacino. And then I just couldn't stop screaming.
I'm sure Al Pacino was in Vegas at some point in his life, and he probably screamed.
How does this game work? You spin a wheel. Oh.
There you go.
Anywho, so I was going down the list of the 500th Hausman.
It works every time.
It really does. Downloads that we had in the month of September. And I was noticing a lot of the shows averaged well, like 4,000 to 5,000 downloads each, from the library.
That's great.
To get the 500,000. So then I was interested in which of the guests got the least downloads. So I thought, this is a contest.
Oh.
I'm going to offer this up.
Oh, dear.
Sammy,
Can I throw... Am I allowed to guess?
it's not you.
Oh, it couldn't possibly be me.
Couldn't possibly be.
No.
You're allowed to guess, but I'm going to offer it up to the folk at home and say that there's a T-shirt, one of which I wish I had somewhere near me. I sense it's flying in towards my head in the not-too-distant future.
But this is Andy's.
Oh, yeah. Well, I won't get anything on it, except for me. This is Andy's, or should I say Andy's housekeepers. There we go. That's the T-shirt. This is the size you may want, but this is a T-shirt you could win if you want to play the game for least downloaded guest. That's the name of the game. Here's how it works. From our library of interviews on the iTunes, you guess which guest had the fewest downloads of the month. The prize, the Kevin Pollak Chat Show T-shirt. And wrote in parentheses, hold up.
Oh, of them.
Such a dick.
Not all the time.
To enter, just write us at contact@kevinpollakschatshow.com and offer up your answer to who had the fewest downloads for the month, in this case September. Also, this is the key part, explain why you chose that particular guest of mine. In fact, so interested in your reason am I that the winner of this contest may not actually have the correct answer, but rather he or she simply offered up the funniest reason as to why their choice was selected for the least amount of downloads. That would make me laugh. I will announce the winner of September's contest in the next couple of weeks. Maybe next show, maybe next Sunday. Maybe. I haven't decided. And now, of course, it's time to get to the least favorite part of the show called Ask Kevin. If only there was a graphic.
Ask Kevin.
Thank you, Sam.
Ask
Oh,
Kevin.
look at that. That looked like a graphic. 19 minutes later. These queries come from you. This one from Tom Query. Tom Query
Oh, dear God.
writes. You thought I made it up?
I did.
Sure. Mr. Chat Show. Correct, continue. Small Jews for 400. Based primarily on your explicit preference over Facebook, I recently started on Twitter. Did you? At Tom question. Besides edit, what are your suggestions for beginners? Other than kill yourself? Are you a narcissist? Because it's nirvana if you are. Other than edit, yeah, that's the fun part is how to be so incredibly clever and or precise in 140 characters. But also, you must leave room if you are brilliant enough for people to RT your dumbass. RT, retweet. So make sure you're about 135 characters or 130 because maybe they want to say a little something like, follow this guy. I don't know. So keep that in mind. The better you... The next question, at Kevin, comes to us from Woman on Pause. All right. Downloading your podcasts, and it keeps me sane while I crunch numbers all day. So if this has been asked before, then no, this is not deja vu. I write short fiction in my spare time and wanted to ask what you enjoy reading. Any favorite books, short stories, or authors? I'm always looking to pick up new and interesting reads. And if this is responded to, and it does not start with, in quotes, none of your fucking business, I will be sorely disappointed. Woman_on_pause, a.k.a. Sarah.
I cannot remember a time you weren't reading this question.
That's what Einstein meant by relativity.
None of your fucking business. Thanks, Sammy.
No problem.
Thanks for bringing it home for us.
Anything I can do.
Because I nodded off during the answer. I thought it was time somebody nodded off during the question. Woman on Pause, I will suggest that you read... I'm not even going to pretend that I read a lot. I refuse. People can write. Wow. I don't get it. Pick up some Mark Twain. Actually, some Samuel Dam Clemens, preferably. I'm going to say early Sam Clemens. It's a block. Yeah. One in particular, Captain Stormfield's Visit to Heaven. There you go. And go. This last one is from Jason Dadaddy. I read that correctly? At Jason Dadaddy. Kevin, for those of us who are not part of the Hollywood game playing set, could you please explain running charades? Oh, Christ. It comes up frequently with your guests, but it's really going to come up today, too. I'd never heard of it before your show. Did you just dilute the coffee a little?
I'm double barrel, baby.
Love the show. Keep up the good work. All right. Running charades as quickly as I can. It's charades, and then you run. All right. If you need teams, so at least 3, 4, at least for teams, they go into separate rooms, and then there's a clue giver person that stays behind in the middle of this house, this place that you're in. And then one representative from each team goes to that person to start the game. And when all the representatives are standing there in front of the knucklehead giving, he says the first clue. And that clue is Mark Twain. And then the representatives run back to their teams and give clues, and it continues from there as you... I keep asking for more questions, and then I just can't seem to get through an answer. I'm so sorry. I want to apologize to everyone.
I love this.
All right. The Larry King game, we have another winner this week. His name is Donald. Nope, Donald. Is it Donald? Yeah, it's Donald Morgan. Hi there, my name is Donald Morgan. It says it right there. And he included his size. I like these people starting to get a little confident in their Larry King games. And his Larry King game goes something like this, Kenneth. Scroll, scroll,
Scroll,
scroll,
scroll.
scroll.
Someone call for a Torah?
On a lighter note,
Simchat Torah.
on a lighter note, back in '76, B. Arthur and I used to stand in a doorway naked and slap cock. Sweetwater, Tennessee, your call, please. That was the winner. Keep sending Larry King games is the point. So congratulations to Donald Schmegegi. I've talked many times on this show about doing the stand-up comedy most of my adult life. And we've had several comedians on the show. And over the last year and a half or so while we've had comedians, there are a lot of different sort of representatives from this art form, which I insist on calling it till I die. And thank God it doesn't have a union, because that would be helpful. But it's still an art form. And I became aware of today's guest through the microcosm of comedy, people mentioning his name, you have to see him, that sort of thing. But it really came about to see anyone firsthand is how it really happens. And it was the Montreal Comedy Festival. And he does a thing, I'm going to ask him when this started, but he does a thing called State of the Industry, I believe. I'll be corrected momentarily if not. And I sat in this ballroom that I had seen Trey Parker and Matt Stone in the day before be crazy, funny, hilarious in the Q&A, and I thought, well, this festival, this was the highlight. And then my guest today came on and did his State of the Industry, and it was kind of like a breakfast hour kind of thing, as I recall, perhaps incorrectly. You know what? I think it was Aspen and not Montreal. Did you do it at the Aspen in the morning?
No, I did it in Montreal, but
Montreal.
the first couple of years it was earlier. It was like a 1 o'clock.
Right. It felt like breakfast because we had all just gotten up, as comedians is their wont. And I just remember not only laughing hysterically and nonstop and thinking Matt and Trey were fools to even attempt comedy, but I remember thinking this is a higher tier. This is a guy who can write in his voice, which is one of the hardest things for comedians to do. The stream of conscious being funny on stage is one thing, the stream of conscious being funny in a conversation is another, but to actually write it out as the way you think, in the tone and the voice and the delivery of the way you think, as easy as that sounds, I guess, it is one of the single hardest things to do. I've discovered not only for myself, but for other professionals that I've spoken to. And that's the thing that I took away from it was, comics comic, blah, 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 whatever. This guy is a brilliant writer. And his point of view was crystal clear within maybe the first 3 words. And that rarity has made me a fan from that day, and I'm extremely proud to welcome Mr. Randy Kindler to the table.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate
sincerely.
that. That is very, very nice, and I don't handle compliments well.
And I knew that about you.
Yeah, I prefer to deflect. And do I get the award now or
double coaster? Sir.
Double coasters?
Yeah, you get a double coaster.
All of a sudden, I'm at my grandmother's house being interviewed. Now, do you want this whole thing right down the barrel? Because I can go down the barrel with it. Or you want a Ken Burns style? What do you want?
Any way that feels like a conversation would be awesome. Tell me about the early days in New York as a child.
Well, I grew up in Queens.
I'll say.
Where everyone is disgusted with everything.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
Is that the MO? I'm West Coast. I'm from San Francisco.
What part of Queens?
Right?
I'm from Whitestone, Queens, right near Bayside. That's why when these like Real Housewives of the New York and the real things, I said I don't want to see. I don't want to see these people who I grew up with. How about the real bullies who used to punch me in the face when I was a kid? So
the real bullies of New York.
Yes, I mean I grew up in kind of Queens and Long Island. I guess Queens is on Long Island. I never got it right because when I lived in New York, I never knew what direction anything was. You know, out here everything is go west, go east.
Right.
There it was make a right, make a left. So when people say, "Where are you north between the I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I grew up there, and I went to Bayside High School. Then I went to school upstate, SUNY Binghamton.
I'll say.
Same school as Mr. Paul Reiser.
Is that right?
We're the exact same age.
Really?
Carol Leifer, we're also the exact same age, but then she graduated from Queens College. This collegiate part of the show will be going on for about 3 more hours. And I was a violinist when I was a kid.
Stop it.
I'm not kidding around.
What does that mean? And to walk me through that, please.
Classical. I was the best violinist in my high school. I was the concertmaster because I was the only person in my high school who took private lessons.
And these lessons began at the age of?
On 4th grade, my mom heard me say, she claims, "Oh, the violin seems like a nice instrument." Or maybe she heard me go, "I enjoy wood." Boom. She shuttled me off to the thing. Boom. And just shows...
Well, Reiser was being shuttled off to piano lessons around the same age.
Was it classical piano as well?
Yes.
But my thing was, I transferred very quickly my parent and issues to my violin teacher, and within about a year, I decided I hated it. It took me another 10 years to quit because I didn't want to let her down, and representative of letting my parents down.
And because we happen to have a violin here today,
do we?
Is it possible that you would then?
I could try to play.
How long has it been?
Well, I actually
hours?
a couple of years ago, I reconstituted my. I hate to use the lingo. I refurbished my current violin. But just to rosin up the bow, get the thing in tune, takes on average 7 hours.
What?
At 7. And if you
Because
move,
you fall asleep during the process?
No, it's so there's so many things. First of all, this is why would you ever want to? You don't come out of the womb naturally gravitating towards this move.
You don't.
So that hurt me right there. But I could play. I could play a couple notes. What? Do you have Jack Benny's old violin, or you Fink's old violin?
What did you name your axe?
Lucille. I wasn't BB King.
I'm wondering if when you have the violin, do you name it?
No, I didn't. But this is one day I came down and I opened the case and it cracked from the cold or whatever. But as I remember, I was in 6th grade. I was like, "What lie am I going to come up with? I know I'm not going to tell the truth, even though I didn't do anything. I still must lie somehow."
So let's talk more about that phase.
Yeah, the lying.
The awareness of the importance of the lie.
Wait, I never thought a musical instrument could take its own life.
Yeah.
To prevent itself from being played by its owner. Well, it seems that may be the first
Is that in
documented
fact
case.
what happened? Sammy's suggesting suicide.
Well, my dad, who's very, very funny, but he would gravitate towards the same material. Every time he would walk up the stairs, he was playing, "Is someone killing a dead cat?" He would say, "Killing a dead cat." I don't know why he would say that.
My dad had the nonsensicals as well.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
And he also had things that I was too young to understand. Like I'd say, "See you later," and he'd say, "Not if I see you first." I just recently figured out what that means. Like not if I see you first means if he sees me coming, he's gonna get away. But who knew that? It's just like when they would say, "I don't have to call you." Was this an actual old vaudeville joke? I don't have to call you ladies and gentlemen. You know who you are. How did that ever qualify as a joke?
Yeah, that's not a joke, actually.
Or ladies and germs. How is that a joke? Ladies and germs?
Yeah.
It's not jokes.
No, but they're considered classics.
I used to love when the old vaudeville guys would do 12 horrible jokes in a row, then one wouldn't work, and they go, "They can't all be gems." Like the other 11 were fantastic.
That I like. Yeah. Now, were you, while you were being forced to play the violin, were you starting to realize that there were funny people on the television?
Well, this is the thing that's actually strange, which is something I think is true about, which is odd about what you end up doing as a profession, because everybody in my family was funny. And like my dad, just naturally funny. My dad's hilarious. My brother says my mother's unintentionally funny. I mean, when my first material was word for word, my mother came out to California and she was reading from the tour book, and it was like, "And did you know San Francisco is the 5th largest textile manufacturer in the world?" So one of my first jokes was an actual thing that she said, which was she was sitting in a restaurant in Sausalito, a small fishing village north of the Golden Gate Bridge, nestled in lovely Marin County. So she's sitting there, and this is actually what she says. She says, she looks at the menu, she looks at me, she goes, "Andy, you live in California. How are the fajitas?" So that was my mother. That was my mother being unintentionally funny. But my father.
So you were the originator of "shit my mom says."
Exactly.
Long before.
Yeah. But I didn't think of opening a thing with it.
A deli.
So I never thought, the comedy always came like, I thought everyone was funny until I got it out in the real world and realized that many people aren't. Like Jonathan Winter says, most people don't have a sense of humor. They think they do. But
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never thought about doing comedy. I wanted to be in the Beatles. I wanted to be Bob Dylan. I was a musician. I played guitar after violin. So.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So through college, I did like theater in college, but until then, I just wanted to be. I was in bands, but top 40 bands and.
Now, your peer group, the folks that you chose to hang out with, or as it says in your dossier,
right,
people who allowed you to hang out with them. Very stuck up.
That's very strange. Yeah. I prefer to write it that way.
So, were they all funny too? Did you gravitate towards other funny people? Because at some point, when your family is as funny as you're insisting, everyone else must seem like...
You sound like you question it. You say your family's funny, Andy, but we'll have to look into that later.
We have video. Actually,
let's go to the tape.
That suggests otherwise. Rather dour people, ironically. But so, were your friends also as organically funny, or were you just the funny one in the group?
Well, I was hanging around a lot of, we did these things in high school. I don't know, did you have sing in high? I don't even know what it is really. Sing, seniors sing. Anybody?
I don't know what you're saying.
It's like the juniors would all get together and they put on a play. The sophomore, everybody would put on a play, and so I did things like that. But I didn't know what I was doing. And my class we were always like cutting. We're just like cut ups, that kind of thing. But not like. It seemed like we were all that way. It didn't seem like I was like the class clown sitting in the back and nobody knew what I was talking about. It seemed that I always did gravitate towards people who you could kibitz with.
Right.
Spritz, as we
Did
say.
you spritz as a teenager? Is what I'm asking.
I did.
You had a little peer group of spritzers?
I refuse to answer any questions directly. As you can tell. Yeah, we did. But you know, I grew up in the. What is it, pilot season? Or should I tell the truth? I grew up in the late '60s, '70s, so everything was about pot and smoking pot. And
I thought
things
you
like
were
that.
saying I grew up in pilot season.
I grew up in pilot season.
That should be in your act for sure.
Yeah.
All right. But are you starting to realize that there's funny people on TV when your family is so funny? I still come back to that question.
Oh.
Who's starting to catch your eye?
I see what you're
From
doing.
the Tonight shows, from the who's. I know you want to be a musician at this point in your life, and we'll get to the theater experiences in college in a second too, because I'm
hope
always
not.
curious about that.
Okay.
Seriously, I really am.
Yeah.
Is anyone catching your eyes?
Yes, but the thing is that it was like Jackie Gleason was caught my eye. So, but almost all of my introduction to stuff was through sitcoms.
Right.
So all of my I didn't even know. I may have seen. Obviously, we all watched Ed Sullivan when we were kids,
Sure.
so I was aware of the comedians. But it was more like Dick Van Dyke and the Andy
Right.
Griffith Show.
Yeah.
I watched those shows when I was a kid. They in New York. They would run those shows. They were already repeats.
Yeah.
You know, on top of watching every episode of the show Superman over and over and over again, and just fascinated that they had the same crooks, the same criminals who play different roles.
And now we realize they were as guest stars.
Now he's a professor. Now he's something else. So that was my first exposure to comedy. Was that, and then as I got older, then it was the Woody Allen movies before it was even I didn't even hear Woody Allen stand up until maybe a few years ago. It was Annie Hall and Manhattan. Those were like,
Right.
you know, and then Saturday Night Live hit me and
Sure.
and that type of thing. But not stand up like except for Richard Pryor was in everyone's consciousness. So I started listening to Richard Pryor. And things
So
like
Pryor was one of the first that you became aware of.
that. Yeah, I think so. Who were
Wow.
the big comics on Ed Sullivan in the late '60s? I don't remember.
Well, you know, you've got your Alan Kings and you've got your straightforward monologists.
Alan King, I remember very much because he would always seem like he was telling
Finally,
stories.
you admit it.
Yes, there are
I was
comics.
trying
yes.
to get you to say Alan King the
Yes,
whole time.
that's who it was. It was. I grew up listening to Bazile, the centerfold of comedy. Anything? Denny Johnston as a small child.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. All right, so let's go to the theater.
What's
and
my
college.
score so far now?
7. Let's go to I do sense that you're waiting for the scores to come up on the tote.
And also, we could wait till the end of this show to see who's the least downloadable before we get the T-shirt.
No,
This show is the.
no, we will not have the least downloadable. That suggests what the future is going to be. I'm only interested in the past. I didn't do the theater in college because I graduated in 9 months.
Really?
It's called dropping out.
Oh, okay.
So I've always been fascinated because I guess from the Facebook movie, certainly from the trailer, it suggests that their original idea was that I want to put the college experience into a application or whatever,
Right.
whatever the hell. So I don't have any of the college experience really, other than how do I get out of here?
Right.
So the theater part was something that I feel like would have been something had I been steered that way would have kept me there.
Yes.
Was there a sense of that?
Well, the theater stuff, I went to summer camp when I was a little kid. I went to my parents, we were Jews. I don't know if you're aware of that. I don't get to mention it a lot in my act, except every other joke. But we were Jews, but my parents sent us to YMCA summer camps for some reason. And
So you know what a WASP was.
I knew what a WASP was early. I knew what non-denominational meant way before.
Yeah.
And then, so we had plays. I did plays. I played like, what's the one, Harvey, with the
Yeah.
James Stewart. I did all these plays when I was like 10 or 11. I fell in love with it then. So I had like an early exposure
So
to it.
Natural Born Ham is starting.
Natural Born Ham. And then when I got to college, I went to SUNY Binghamton, and they had Arthur Lesack was this famous vocal coach training guy. His son, Michael Lesack, is like a sitcom director and stuff. So to major in theater, you had to take all of these courses because he was very famous at the time and drew a lot of money to the school.
Oh,
but
wow.
they tried to make you major by taking 15, and I didn't want to take these courses where you're like
What's happening?
Are
you okay?
This is the way you get over your vocal thing, but this is also you can get to emotions. So I didn't want to take that.
This is why I never took an acting class.
That's the problem. And then we repeat it. But I took all the acting classes I wanted to. I just didn't major in theater. But I was in all the productions, and I loved that. It was fantastic.
So when you graduated, you had a degree in
English literature with a minor in history.
Hello. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
First of all.
Thank you.
No. I say that with all due respect.
My GPA is available upon request.
Do you have that? Is that downloadable?
It is downloadable.
All right.
I could write a very good paper, Mr. Pollak.
Well, were you an 11th hour paper writer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have never, ever not waited till the last minute on anything. I live literally 7 minutes from here, and still I was pushing it at the end.
Do you really?
Yeah, I live like near, I can't say because I don't want people coming to my apartment complaining about my act. But very close to here in West Los Angeles.
All right, so from all these experiences and from the music, at what point does the dream of being the fifth monkey drift away? And your first time, how does that transition take place where you find yourself on stage as a stand-up?
Well,
because I'm not seeing any sort of early interest, let alone studying of the greats or anything, or even an inclination to stand alone on a stage.
Absolutely.
Which, as you know, is the big difference.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Well, I was in a duo when I first started, so that was one thing. But I came out to Los Angeles in 1978. I was a singer-songwriter guitarist, which there were 35 million at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I thought I'd come out here, and I thought I would be. I used to do a thing in my act about how I thought I would be. I was so upset that I wasn't discovered with my because I wrote these songs. But the only way I could be discovered is if like an A&R guy happened to be walking by my apartment, because I was just like in my apartment, just stewing. And then I was in top 40 bands and things like that.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, I was, because I thought there was, you don't know when you're young. You don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm barely know now, but then I was like, oh, we'll do our originals during the day, and then at night, no, we'll do our originals at night, but then, no, we'll do the covers at night, and then we'll wake up at 9 in the morning and work on the originals. Or we'll do Huey Lewis, but then we'll sneak in one of our originals. And it's
in the middle of the song.
Yeah, well, not in the middle of the song. But that whole concept, if I could have talked to the younger Andy Kindler, which I often refer to myself as the younger Andy Kindler, I would have said that's not the way to go. You just do your original. So I was knocking my head against the wall doing that. I was selling stereos. I don't know how long you've been out in California. Forever?
Born and raised.
Remember University Stereo?
Of course.
I was a salesman at University Stereo, and I was at a picnic, and my friends, I was doing impressions of everybody at the company. Again, I've been to the Comedy Store once, but no ever thought, even at all, about doing it. And my friend Bill, who's a therapist, and is a therapist now, he said, hey, you're funny, you should do comedy. And I said, well, and then we did it as a duo. That's the only reason why I did it, was because he convinced me to do it.
Your first comedy partner was a therapist?
Yes, his name is Bill.
Uh-huh.
Bill Kaufman.
And what was the hook of this duo?
Well, the hook was that every bit I would bail on, about as I often do a stand-up. My regular act doesn't work so well. No, now I
you
don't
would throw him under the bus at every bit?
Yes. You know what? I no longer feel like a Martian who is only talking in consonants.
What a great partner!
And I would bail so quickly on
Oh
things.
my God!
Yeah.
So the word commit,
right,
which is one of the keys to a lot of sketch comedy. Commit.
Yeah, or agree too. I'd never yes and.
No.
I was like, what are you smoking? I don't see a. But we had some good bits. But
what was one of the good bits?
Well, I did a impression of Dr. David Viscott.
You certainly
called
did.
Dr. David.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of the show was Talk to Me, where I give you a chance to talk to me. And he would call up, and his problem was that he says he doesn't listen, and I would say, you know what your problem is? You don't listen. So we did stuff like that, and some of the stuff was good. But like even if I had done stand-up, my early stand-up was pretty horrible. So
but as a duo, where are you getting on stage?
we put our
again in your apartment.
No, at the Improv. We went to the Improv when Howard Allen was in.
Sure.
Howard, who gave me this advice: just write some jokes. Write jokes. I tell these kids. They ask me what the thing. Right. Then there was the LA. The deli smoker.
Sure.
The deli smoker.
In the Valley?
Remember that? Ventura? And the guy who worked there, his name was Say. Say, if you're out there, I miss you. But he would say, he would give the same advice to all comedians because he wanted to try out his jokes.
What did Say say?
He'd say, you need more jokes. Like, you people are like unborn children. You keep saying, feed us. Feed us.
No.
Yes, he did.
No.
Feed us. feed us.
No. Jamie, you love puns, and you can't even like that. You people are like unborn children.
You
feed
keep
us.
saying, feed us.
Feed us.
There's another joke that I can't get out of my mind of a comic who I started out with, and I don't remember his name, but his joke was, this woman kept saying to me, leave me alone, leave me alone.
How
And I
much
kept
do you
saying,
want?
how much?
Oh, no.
How much? I love that. I love when that's it. You say it more than once. You don't realize that it can't be, shouldn't be said, and you leave it hanging out there. You leave it out there.
That's right. Wow, that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. So
Shortly thereafter,
3 years after, I started in 1984, and in the summer of 1986, I went on my own.
how did you break the news to?
I started to.
Your buddy.
I'm not good at confrontation, except if I'm talking about Jay Leno when he's not in the room. But but I don't like to confront. So I knew I wanted to leave, but I wasn't telling him. But then I would start to ad-lib on stage. It would drive him nuts. I would be ad-libbing. I'd be over here on this side of the thing talking to somebody, and he would be just standing there. And then
He was standing there like Dean Martin as Jerry Lewis started working the crowd.
right, except except that we didn't part angrily. We're still good friends now.
And you didn't need Sinatra to get you back together.
No.
Okay. Just checking.
We did have a telethon that I did walk onto, and no, but the breakup was. But I will say the first time I tried stand up on my own, which was a place called Seymour. I used to book this place, Seymour Hams, spelled Seymour. It's another pun. Hamms, Seymour Hams in Lomita. It was a place where a lot of local theater people in Lomita would go to.
Sure,
and I
a hotbed of theater.
Hotbed of theater, and I booked that place, and it was my first time I did stand up. And I remember one of my jokes was I just found out that the special ingredient in the spaghetti sauce is ketchup. Anybody? The chef here studied with Chef Boyardee for many years. Hello, sir. What local production are you involved in? The first time I did stand up there, I literally cried. I was crying on the way home in the car. I can't do this. Like this. I can't do this. I'll never. People hate me. I can't tell jokes.
Did you call your former partner and say?
Yes, I did. I called not from the car because we couldn't then, but I pulled over to a phone booth.
Well,
it was a rotary phone
You could
booth.
turn on your radio and say, "Helen, get me KL5." Okay, so your partner said, "Come by the couch and we'll talk about it."
Yeah, and so but
he never became your therapist.
he never be. I actually did see him a couple times.
Okay, good. Because
He
that
had
makes me laugh the
no
hardest.
boundaries.
That makes me laugh the hardest. As you're on his couch and he starts to offer up some sort of suggestion of what you might do, and then you bail on that.
That's exactly right. I could not commit to even talking about my problems.
Right. So it's wow. It doesn't seem like too long of a time before it's 1992 and you find yourself in the 15th annual Young Comedians
Can you believe
on
that?
the HBO.
Look at
Because
the
that
people.
first time you got on at Seymour Hams was not too many years before.
1986. That's right. It was summer of '86. So 6 years later.
Which is-
1979. And I thought if I had known
For a
then,
guy who was to
Yeah.
HBO.
Yeah, if I had known then, because I'm sure you agree with this, that stand-up is opposite of any other show business thing.
I don't
You can only get better as you do it more and more and more. And so I thought, not that I thought I had developed as far as I could, but I don't even think I was even starting to develop really when I did the HBO thing. I mean, I like some of the jokes, but I look at it and I'm like, I'm all over the stage and I felt the need to be energetic.
Right.
As opposed to now where I'm, laid back.
I think when we watch this later, we will notice that
I'm laid back?
That as the theme throughout so far the conversation,
Yeah.
as opposed to someone who thinks there's a clock winding down. And then he has to get everything out before the clock winds down.
I'm also consider myself a hipster too. So
Yeah, thanks for the skinny jeans. Did you think, is my question, that the 15th annual Young Comedians show on HBO in '92
it's like a prosecuting
would
attorney.
in fact you could parlay it into the opportunity to portray salesperson on the To Kill a Talking Bird episode of Fox TV's Martin.
Well, that's thank you. Well, that was a gig that I remember hugging Martin Lawrence after the show, and my memory was that he did not want to be hugged by me. after the show. I was so excited. It was the first sitcom I did. My friend John Ridley, you know John Ridley?
Sure.
Right? He was, right? What is that going to say? Right? Don't say you don't know him. He was writing on the show. I got cast as and I remember my acting to this day. So you know how to act, but I didn't. His was
But
my
you came
acting.
from theater.
Well, I came from the kind of theater where you would stop in the middle and talk to the audience for 8 minutes.
You were doing Death of a Salesman at 10 in camp.
Right, yeah. I don't want to say that my Elwood P. Dowd was the definitive Elwood P. Dowd at age 11.
Do you remember that scene where Willie Loman works the crowd for 10 minutes?
Yeah. Oh, great. Now I have to die as a salesman. Fantastic. I'm not already doing. It's not already insulting enough. I'm a salesman. Now, where's Biff? Oh, fantastic. Biff, nice going, Biff.
Appreciate stopping by, Bill.
Yes.
Have a beer.
What was the question?
I don't know.
We're talking about Martin.
Martin Lawrence didn't want to be hugged.
So I remember my acting, because my acting was like, I was like, I remember doing that. Because he says the bird, do you remember something about the bird? I go, and then he does an impression of me. He does,
Oh.
But it was fun. It was very much fun. You know, I was also on a show called Muddling Through. That was my second acting thing.
I have Muddling Through written
You do
down.
have Muddling Through. And
Yes.
you know who was in that? Jennifer Aniston was in that. And it was because that show tanked that she was able to do Friends.
Were you always this good with your hands?
Yes, Stephanie. And this is another fantastic story for panel. Was that on Muddling Through was my second gig. I had to walk in with a cardboard cutout, put it down so that the person here would be in the camera shot with me, and I thought that was what all of acting was like, and that there was no way I could do it.
It's all about the staging.
And I couldn't do it.
No.
I can't walk 8 yards and hit a thing unless you want me to look at it. Is it okay? Can we include that the character looks down at the ground searching for his mark?
If only we had met prior to that.
You would have helped
I could
me?
have given you the Spencer Tracy gag that he created.
It's not from the Michael Caine video, is it?
No.
Okay.
As a way to find his mark. Because it is the worst thing in the world. In film, it's always very, very precise, and you have to hit an exact point, your mark. And so as he walked into the room, as he approached his mark, he would check his watch to see what time it was, and he would look past his hand down to the ground.
This is fantastic.
That simple. Give yourself a piece of business, I would say.
I've been taking out cigarettes and smoking them, and they stop it all the time. We can't do this. Why can't I? Oh, I dropped my match on my mark, interestingly enough.
Kevin, is that why in A Few Good Men,
Yes.
Sam Weinberg doesn't know what time it is in every scene he's in?
Yes.
Needs to know?
That's exactly why, Sam, you son of a bitch.
Was that one of the first jokes you ever heard? Was why the man threw the clock out the window because he wanted to see if time would fly?
Yes.
I still don't get that joke. I understand it. I understand it.
You don't get why
get
it's funny.
I get it mechanically. I get it conceptually.
Uh-huh. But you don't see why it's funny.
Well, time would fly, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's not funny at all. You needn't go in search of Spock. All right, you're not going to find the funny. It isn't available.
In search of the funny in the half past the cow's ass.
I do want to talk about playing yourself on Larry Sanders, please, because honestly, I remember when the show was it was so brilliant and so perfect and so for funny people especially who had dreams of being actors and whatnot. It was one of those perfect vehicles for a stand-up. It was everything.
Yes.
In that regard. But then there was that fine line for who got to play themselves and who had to come on and play a character. And so I would think at this point, given the year, going on and playing yourself was kind of a big deal.
Oh, well, not only that, but Judd Apatow, who I started comedy with in '86, and he was on the Young Comedian special, he had written me in to another episode where they go, tonight, you know how they would say who's on the show sometimes at the beginning? And the comedian Andy Kindler. So all my father's friends kept looking, everybody was looking for me, and I wasn't in that episode.
Right.
And then this is, as many things happened in my career, Rick Overton was out of town. And and he was the original person who was supposed to do that part of the comic who gets bumped from the show.
Oh wow!
And so I got to do it. I was the second choice, but I ran right down there, and it was fantastic. But I was so nervous because I was in awe of that show, and I loved Gary Shandling, and he was very helpful. I mean, he took me over. I think he could tell I was very nervous, and I think by the fact that I was acting poorly,
That was clue number one.
I was sweating and I wasn't supposed to be sweating. And he just took me, he calmed me down, and it was just really, really. And I think they even mentioned my name in a couple of other episodes because I was cut out, or maybe it was the same episode because the thing was that Janine was dating Bob Odenkirk's Stevie, and they got in a fight. So
there's an example right there. You've got a great, wonderful, funny guy in Odenkirk, and
he was so perfect in that role. Wasn't
brilliant.
He?
But so many great, funny people were playing a part.
Yes.
And not themselves. That was the part that struck me, and I thought that was pretty damn fantastic.
I was thrilled by it. But
yeah.
I just felt like it was one of those things like, I can't watch I don't know about you, but I can't watch myself. So whenever I watch myself on that one,
This is where we differ. All of my work plays on a continuous loop on 7 different screens throughout my home.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
Can't
on
get
that.
enough of me. I look at dailies
of yourself,
of all the films I've done.
So is that like a Tony Robbins thing? It's like a positive thinking thing, or is it more of an obsessive compulsive, or is it narcissism?
It's the only way I can masturbate. Should we take a call?
Let's take a call. How do you masturbate? Hello,
Jamie. How are we doing on questions? We like to include our audience, Andrew.
Is anyone logging on
question.
right now?
Oh, yes. These are coming to us live. This was from @mross420.
Oh.
Hot smoker, you think? Notice from his Twitter that @Andy Kindler, they've already messed it up, is a politics aficionado. Does he follow them for comedic sake or because he enjoys them? So is this person following the wrong person?
No, I think what happened is that when I always get into the social net, like I just started my MySpace page today. I figured, wait to see if it takes off. And so I've just got that up and running. So I always wait a long time before things. So it took me a while to get on Twitter, and someone had taken @Andy Kindler. And so...
Did that seem like...
a squatting thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, have you looked into it at all to see if there's a person with your name?
Or there is a person with my name who I've met a few times, but I don't think it's him because he's only... I don't know, maybe it is.
What if he became best friends? Somebody stole your name for sure.
And
Poor
somebody
thing.
I got credit for today. When I was at Costco at the checkout line, the guy said, Jamie Foxx stole your name. And I'm like, damn right he did.
That's the first person who knew.
Yeah, he gave me a high five.
Yeah, cool. Poor child. Her name is Jamie Foxx. And Eric Bishop changed his name to Jamie Foxx and became famous.
Oh, no.
How about that? Stinks. Now back to you.
So I just went with Kindler Andy because of that.
How weird would it be if you became really great friends with someone who also had your name? Because you said you've seen this guy a couple of times.
I've seen him a couple of times. I had
what if you became best friends?
That's the show.
That's the show. God
Forget the other shows that haven't gone. That's the show.
Andy Kindler squared.
Can we get Jennifer Aniston?
What's that?
Can we get Jennifer Aniston?
Only if muddling through, if that had gone, I would be the friend. What? If only, how would it go? That's...
So are you following politics at all?
Oh, I am a political junkie.
Uh-huh.
I shoot up heroin and I...
Who's got your eyes these days?
I love Obama. I'm not on the... this woman who got up... This woman, I was so angry. I really have come to hate the media. I just go ballistic on my Twitter page, and people don't understand why are you upset at Howard Feynman? They want to know.
Yeah.
It's like the guys who drive me nuts,
right?
Because of his sources say and all this stuff. So a couple of weeks ago, that woman stood up and she's at that CNBC gathering, and she goes, "I'm tired of defending you to my friends." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that he wasn't able to reverse George W. Bush and the torture years in 2 months for you." It's like, Americans are whining babies. It's not his job to solve every one of your problems.
It's an absolute shit job now.
Yeah,
especially coming out of the 8-year hole. I mean, it was almost like the first couple of months he really should have traveled the world, just stopping at each country and saying, "Holy shit, sorry." Wow, is that crazy?
I don't know what happened.
We're back.
And we're back.
Yeah. I think it's how he gets blamed any way whatsoever with the BP. Now somehow it suggests that he swam down at one point.
That's the thing. That's the only way they'd be happy.
Right?
It's everyone's thing. They'd only be happy if he's sobbing with a wrench and he's down there and I don't have it yet, but I think I can. That's the only thing they want from him.
Yeah.
And these idiot pundits, I hate them like poison. They not one of these, just Joe Klein. Every one of them can kiss my ass. Could Joe Klein do anything real in his life? He wrote Primary Colors, and all of these people do is they criticize. And they would, and Ariana Huffington. They all know more than everybody else.
Right.
And if I was articulate, I could really make hay with this. If I was able to express myself clearly and not have it just be anger and rage.
You could match actual words.
Yes,
with
what I'm thinking.
With your energy.
Yes, it would be. So that's what's driving me nuts. And even like, for example, my sister was a teacher and an administrator for vice principal, and we don't like what Obama's doing with the education thing, because this whole idea of, oh yeah, the solution of education, let's fire all the teachers. It's the teachers who are the problem. That Michelle Reed, who's in Washington, I don't agree with any of that, but he can't be perfect in every area, and then I don't go, oh, I don't agree with him on that, so I'm going to turn on him completely. And I just have no sympathy for these people who expected him to solve all the problems. And
where do we move to when President Palin takes over the Oval Office?
I just can't. The thing is, I don't understand how someone like John McCain can sleep well at night knowing that he would have turned the job over. Or anybody. To me, that's the litmus. You want a litmus test? Because I like references that no one would ever know what that even means. Oh, there has to be a litmus test? We haven't done a litmus test in about 55 years. I think we use a PSA test for that now. The litmus test should be if you like Sarah Palin. That's it. There's no end of discussion if you think that she's good, or how can you talk to anybody who would possibly defend anything that she would do, or what was the new one?
So what you're saying is you don't
O'Donnell.
Michelle O'Donnell.
You don't actually allow for differences of opinion. It's really
the thing is, I've gone through different things with this. I've gone through, like, you have to be respectful towards people, and I try to be.
Because one of the things you were saying before the show, if I may, was one of the things that drives you a little nutty is when the atheists get in your face and say, well, whatever you're saying is horseshit.
Yes.
They, too, don't seem to have a lot of patience for a difference of opinion.
Right.
And yet,
if I was able to be self-aware of myself and take in lessons of others and how they relate to me, that would have maybe stirred me to change my arguing style.
Yes, a little bit, because in the...
I don't want to be... You're right. I am a little bit intolerant.
Yes. Because
Well, Mr. Cheney. You happy now, Mr. Cheney?
Yeah. By the way... Oh, God, I went off on this tyrant last night on stage that was like...
Cheney?
It felt hackneyed at some point because it's Cheney. It's literally like picking on a carny now. Because there's no one left that says, what's the matter with you? I like Cheney.
His daughter does.
No, well. Because I just picture when he shot his friend in the face while they were hunting. I just literally pictured his friend so afraid when it happened that he was like, oh, shit, Dick, I'm sorry. I did not realize you had the duck lined up. Let me just get out. I'm such an asshole. Let me get out of the way.
He was my bad. He was my batting it the whole time. My bad,
But
Dick.
seriously, that's how in fear. All right, this question comes to you from @Rosella Wigan. Question, Andy, have you ever told a joke and have it not go as you...
Yes. Interesting story. Let me see if I can call up a time. I kill mostly. I mostly kill. Haven't had a thing where I got like a mixed reaction on anything.
Can I just say something to @Rosella Wigan before we go any further? Honey, that's everyone. All right.
Is there any particular reason you turned gay when you said that?
Yeah. I'm a little authoritatively gay. But I would like to go to that moment when you're on stage when it maybe happens the first time. Because that can stay with you longer than it should. And that might have been a part of what led to, I can't do this. I don't know.
Why was I driving?
You said you were driving home crying.
Oh, I thought you were doing that was a bit I did in the Andy and the old...
More like on a sailor, like on a boat.
The first time, I'll never forget, I will forget, but I'll try to block it out. I said a joke, it didn't go over, and I said, well, that certainly didn't go over very well. That started me commenting on the material. So very quickly, that's what I did.
And ultimately became, if there is, if
my
the word hook applies, there was a sense of freedom that must have gone off in your mind? Oh man, because I started out in San Francisco and around the same time as Dana Carvey, and he had this ability to diffuse any situation by commenting on it. Not necessarily chasing the rabbit down the hole, but just and not necessarily working the crowd, but there was a connection. There was a weird thing, like he would say, "Right, Mr. Hat," or something.
Yeah.
You know, that there was always that thing, and I remember thinking, because I was sort of around when it was first starting, which is what we're discussing, sort of the origin of what later becomes an important part of your style. And those early days, when you're finding it, was there anyone in your circle or friends or anyone who was saying yes or no to that sort of thing?
I think...
like the guys who was yelling, write more jokes.
Yeah, I think early on there were very few people. I think early on when I was commenting, it was very uncomfortable. So a lot of people I don't think could see it. You know, for me, I was so influenced. That's why I loved Letterman. That's why I loved Johnny Carson, was when the joke didn't work. Mm-hmm. That's why, you know, how hilarious they were.
Right.
Like I remember Richard Lewis watching him, and he was being interviewed about his advice to comedians, and he says, well, I think if you're a comedian, you should stay in your city for a while. Don't rush to L.A. But look at me, I'm dressed like Satan at a barbecue. You know, so I just loved that he could deflect things, and so I always felt like I always related to self-deprecation and diffusing it. So early on, but people didn't. I played this club called Rascals in New Jersey,
sure.
And the manager said to me, and this is like maybe a year in on my own. He goes, "Hey, look, if the joke doesn't work, don't comment on it." So I said, "Well, that's kind of what I do." He goes, "It doesn't go over here."
No, that doesn't play in
That
Jersey.
doesn't play over here. So no, people weren't. Nobody was encouraging to me. A lot of people thought, like Judd Apatow tells me that he thought I would, when he first saw me, he thought
Truth be told, it is one of the things that you're sort of, almost all of us are told by a potential mentor, which is stay in the pocket. Don't
get him on your side.
Don't bail on yourself.
Right.
The audience want really to just relax their sphincter. They want to know they're in the hands of someone who's capable of making them laugh, and they want to know it the sooner the better.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. Anyone who with any experience would be in your face, I would think, saying, yeah, that shouldn't necessarily be your hook, because it's literally the first thing we want to get rid of.
I also think that a comedian's strength is their weakness. So I would say if you saw me, like I can sense sometimes in myself. In the last couple of years, I made a really big breakthrough, because it was so odd to say. I was 24 years in. I've been doing it 26 years. But I realized I wasn't really saying everything that was on my mind. I was stopping a lot of things when they would get really uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I've given myself permission to do that now, and it's really opened me up. But the downside is, on some nights I'll say to myself, I think I've called myself an idiot now, or I'm always over-exaggerating how the audience is reacting to
Sure.
me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're not, so there's a downside to it, but it is my upside that I can do that.
Well, it was one of the questions I was going to ask, because it has become sort of the thing that you are known for, and it must, without question, usurp the sort of train of thought that takes place on stage when you're in a bit of a free form and finding your way, the way any comedian does, call it improvising, whatever. But as a stand-up, you really, for a lot of us, you're having a therapy session up there. It's an opportunity to let your thoughts wander. And if your thing is to cut yourself off,
right?
How do you discover on stage?
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I think early on I would cut myself off. And even through the 90s, I would either cut myself off or I get angry at the crowd. So I would go through different things. And
those are different things.
And because my whole thing was the thing I can't stand on stage is indifference. When the crowd is, I'm not going to be a guy reciting a play or a high school play.
Right.
I'm not going to pretend that it's not happening.
Right.
So it worked to the sense that I got their attention when I would get angry. I would put myself down. But now in the last couple of years, I've been more like I'll say something and I go, well, maybe that joke would have been better if I had worked out the actual examples off stage instead of doing it on stage. So those type of things, I think, open it up more than just saying I'm an idiot. And so the exploration can further the joke as opposed to just cutting it off and just bailing.
And you found that eventually.
Well, I think I found it, but the others have said,
Keep looking?
Keep looking. Keep reaching for the stars.
Jamie, you got a tweet 5 anywhere in there for our man? Let me ask about the Hacks Handbook. Did that come before your first State of the Industry? Which came first?
Yes, the Hacks Handbook was in 1991, and I'm very proud of that. And if you go to my website, which was just updated in 1982, it says none of the above. If you click on none of the above, you'll see the Hacks Handbook. National Lampoon, they did this issue just as the comedy boom was dying, was just about to implode, and it was a how to be a hack. And so the examples back then were like, anything is funny with an attitude, and then even funnier on steroids.
Right.
So steroids are just vitamins with an attitude would be the.
That one.
I also did the teary-eyed closer. My father's not feeling very well, and he's in the hospital, and I think he would feel better if he knew that I did well tonight, and that the crowd liked me. All these different things that you could have. I'm half this. I had like a mix and match. I'm half this ethnicity. I'm half that. And the combination is hilarious. Half Jewish, half Italian. I want to round myself up and give myself
I've read it.
some
I thought it
pasta.
was amazing, and I was just curious what the response was if opportunities came from it, because again, what I said at the outset is heartfelt. I think you're also an incredible writer, and that's the hardest thing, quite frankly, for a comedian to not only write for his own voice, as I was saying at the top, but also just write.
Right. Yeah, I know. I appreciate that because I find it terrifying at times too to write. And the thing is that the Lampoon thing led to. I did a thing in Montreal. I went there in 1993, and I did a thing in 1995, I believe, where I did a demonstration of the hacks. So I brought up like Patton Oswalt and all these comics, and I'll never forget, Patton Oswalt was like we had the opening act, the middle act, and the headliner in the old days, So Blaine was the opening act as the middle act was practicing using him as the mic stand. We would do all these things. And so we had all these comics came up there, and it was just really fun. I did a couple of demonstrations at the Improv, too, where just people, different hacks. I had a guy with long hair, and he was the stoner comic. And then that led to the people in Montreal asked me if I wanted to do my own speech every year, and my manager, Bruce Smith, he came up with the idea of State of the Industry. And then that speech started, where I would, every year, get people in this room and do like an hour of material I worked on all year, and I would put down everybody in show business, and then wonder when I got back to L.A. why no one was calling.
Yeah, that really was the ballsy part of it.
Why is Michael Ovitz not calling after I said horrible things about him? I don't understand.
Well, was there ever a struggle with the fearlessness?
Absolutely. I struggle with it. I actually think the lesson in life to find happiness is to let go of, because I find it creeps back in me in ways that I don't even know sometimes, where I'm constantly worried I'm going to get in trouble just as a person. I was that way as a little kid. I was the youngest, so I saw where the trouble was.
Right.
So there's a part of me that is compelled to talk about these things, and there's a part of me that's scared about it. I've gotten better balance on it now because Letterman does this really funny thing. He says something kind of mean, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was a roast."
Yeah.
So I've tried to have that energy on the speech itself.
Right.
And so I always go with, is the joke funny enough, and is the target high enough that it justifies the joke? But certainly I know I've cost myself work from it, but I'm more comfortable that this is what I'm going to do, and I don't need networks behind me. I don't need executives who like me. I don't need to really make a living. I don't have to. You don't have to own anything.
No.
No.
That leads to unhappiness.
Yeah, I like when the credit cards are up high, so there's a lot of activity at the house. You know what I mean? It's easy just to pay your bills.
Well, you mentioned Letterman. Who was your first talk show appearance?
Are you referring to Comedy on the Road with John Biner? Is that what you're? No. You mean talk show or the old cable things? The first thing
actual like a Tonight Show or.
I believe that there had to be.
Merv Griffin?
Was it could have been Conan? I think it was Conan.
Let's go to the
tape. Well, who has my IMDb up?
Let's say Conan.
I think it was Conan.
Interesting that you don't remember, though, your very first one.
Well, because I also did, like, Stephanie Miller had a show. She was filling in for...
Sure, because that's the same thing as Conan.
But you're saying talk shows as opposed to, like, Evening at the Improvs, right?
Do you remember your first appearance on Conan?
Are we on... yes, I do remember my first appearance. Actually, I remember
That's
one...
all I was looking for.
Is that all you were looking for, really?
You don't have to recall a moment of it.
Yes, I do.
I was just really curious if you remembered your first time.
I think it was on Conan. I do remember my first time on Letterman because I was so nervous and I didn't think it went well. You know those stories about was it Roseanne or whatever? They were incredible.
Well, speaking of which, if I may, one of the things I'm especially tickled about, and I mean this, is how you've kind of become a regular on Letterman, which is in the opening, almost before the first guest comes out. He'll introduce you like our friend Andy Kindler is stopping by to fill us in on whatever the subject is.
Yeah, this has been the thrill of a life for me.
I want to talk about that because it should. I'm not surprised, but happy that you're referring to it that way, because that when people ask me what it was like to the Tonight Show with Johnny, would you ever get nervous? I would say I got excited like going to Disneyland. You know, it wasn't nerve-wracking. It wasn't
even your first time on
pressure.
Johnny?
It wasn't stress. From the very beginning, It was this is the most exciting.
Oh, that's
day.
great.
This is it, and every time was like that sense. So to hear the thrill of a lifetime thing is great, but I want to hear a little more about how it came about and what is the current relationship.
In 1996, I did my first stand-up appearance, and I didn't think it went very well because I was extremely nervous, and he was like my hero, and it was like didn't. And so I wasn't on the show for 4 years, and I went on the show 4 years later, and I had a line which I was happy with, where I said, "I was on the show 4 years ago, I'm on now, and I can't live on this kind of money." So, so that was good. And then I did like a couple of more like appearance a year, and then in January of 2005, I had one of those sets where I was really happy. The audience got all the joke. I did this bit about Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and I did a joke about how there's no drama in the show because it's the same thing, no suspense. It's like watching the movie Sleuth or a more recognizable movie. You know, and everybody, the whole crowd, everyone got the inside joke.
Right.
And then after that,
For a change.
And that was January of 2005. And then it was David Letterman himself who had his company, Worldwide Pants, contact my manager, and then we just started talking about what to do.
Right.
And then in the fall, not that I have it all committed to memory, but the fall of 2005, I did my first appearance that way, which was the fall season.
Right.
And then I did holiday movies, which was one of my favorite ones because I did holiday movies and I did King Kong, and it was Jack Black, and I said, yeah, Jack Black, he goes to this island and terrible things happen to him, just horrible. Pterodactyls fly out, Robin Williams hops from behind a bush and does 10 minutes, just awful things. And I'm staring right to David Letterman's face, and he won't break. He's like, I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then they started with more events, like I went to the Super Bowl, and I went to Yankee spring training, and then it's been almost 5 years. It's been 5 years.
Right. So is it a couple times a year?
It's been about 6 times a year.
Wow.
So it's just been the greatest. I mean, and every time I do it, and it's like...
And what is the actual setup? Do you come up with the things you want to cover, or they toss things at you?
Only one thing I came up with, which was life coaches. Otherwise, they come up with all the events. I work with Jeremy Weiner, is my main contact. He's a really hilarious writer who writes for the show.
Right.
And he's like, shepherds me through it. But then all the writers take a crack at the whatever the thing is.
Do they send you to the place for the thing and the studying, or you just they write the bit?
We just we come up with whatever the thing is going to be. Like we'll interview psychics. We'll come up with all these different jokes. Then we go to the actual event or whatever it is, and then we have either the film crew from Letterman if we're in the city, or some, and then the director. Sometimes Jerry Foley, and sometimes some of the assistant directors, and then whatever happens in the moment. So it's just like a dream come true because these guys are all incredible professionals and exactly my sense of humor. So
yeah, it's amazing, and I'm thrilled for you.
Thank you. I'm really happy with it. I'm just.
When's the next one? Any idea?
I don't know when the next one is, but thanks for bringing up.
So it might be over.
Might be over. Wouldn't that be sad? Wouldn't that be terrible?
Yeah,
might be over.
It'd be great for the show for us.
The greatest thing that's ever happened to me could be the end.
Let's assume.
I see. There's a sunset clause.
Yeah, there's a sunset clause. Another thing we like to do involving our audience is to offer up a quick, rapid-fire 5 questions, this or that kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
We call it Tweet 5.
T5, forever now.
Yep.
I love that man.
Right?
David Koechner. Hilarious.
So this one, they write the fans, viewers write the T5 directly to the guest.
Why we call it T5?
Tweet 5.
Why we call it Tweet 5?
Because they come from Twitter.
But why 5?
5 questions.
How do you come up with these amazing category names? What is the genesis? Kevin Pollak, What is the genesis of the name Tweet 5? Where does it come from? Tweet 5. Tell me about Tweet 5.
I have too much respect for you because I got sucked in by your question, not realizing it was a joke at my expense. And now we can move on.
No, it wasn't. I really didn't get it. I'm thick.
This comes from @Jim_Patrick. And
like
his
that guy.
tweet 5 to you starts with, then Cook or Hitler?
I would go with Hitler.
Followers.
That's being funny? I go with Hitler.
Followers or disciples?
I prefer disciples. That's why I refer to my followers on Twitter as disciples.
Spandau Ballet or Tears for Fears?
Tears for Fears, although I with the thing on my tongue and the boom, 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 boom.
I can't believe that singer-songwriter thing did not really pick up for you.
Oh, wait, why don't I introduce you to my father with those kind of comments? Nice singing. What, are you killing a cat now with your singing?
You're killing a dead cat in there?
Yeah.
Andy!
Tears for Fears was the correct answer, although normally in the Tweet 5s there are no correct answers, which reminds me I should probably ask our director Mike Rotman if he has the end credit music that I've asked for the last
Everybody
couple of
wants to rule the world?
to bring back Kurt Smith, who wrote an original piece
They've been
for
doing.
us.
They did it last week too. They've been doing it.
They did it last week? I got to remember to watch the show.
Is that their song, though? Everybody wants to rule the world?
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Yes.
is.
Yeah, but now I have to associate that with Dennis Miller, and I get a little ill.
Okay, Old Dogs or Morning Joe?
That is a tough one. They are both so horrible. I would say I would rather watch Old Dogs than see Morning Joe. And I watch Morning Joe horribly enough.
And the last one?
This guy knows me. This
Exactly.
is someone who knows me.
It's the
What?
point. It's the point.
Wait, do you know? How did they know me?
They're fans?
No, you know them. You set this
No.
guy up. You set him up, Kevin. What's going to happen?
No. Listen, we're not looking for Anne Frank. All right? The last one is jam or jelly.
I enjoy jelly. Can I just very quickly say
Please.
that I was in a restaurant. This is an inside joke.
There's no clock.
amongst my friends, and there was a guy, and he was a very effeminate waiter, or how do you say it? Fey? What is it? When it's
Fey?
like, someone's like, "Hello,
John
And,
Lovitz?
So it was like I went to this restaurant and it was we were hoping to get breakfast. I said, "Can I get a waffle?" He goes, "No, I'm so sorry, the waffle line's been turned off."
Those Harvey Firestein.
So, but at one point he said, "Would you like some jelly?"
Oh my God!
And
what's
it was
happened?
like
he became a Muppet. Is what you're
Would
saying?
you like some jelly? And I just can't get that out of my mind. So I do prefer jelly.
Oh my God! I
Kevin,
love that. Yes.
Before we go any further, I hate to interrupt, but I just wanted to congratulate you and your San Francisco Giants
They clinched.
on winning the division.
Oh,
They
this is
won.
great news. Yes, they.
How did McCovey do?
he went 3 for 4. He went 3 for 4.
Orlando Cepeda?
Still dead.
Anybody get hit over the head with a baseball bat?
Yes.
Johnny Roseboro?
You're a baseball fan.
I am a baseball fan.
Who's your team?
The New York Mets. I was at the
Yankees?
1969 World Series. That's how old I am. That's how old I am.
So it's not all bad with. So it's not all bad with Dad. He brought you to the World Series.
No, he didn't. It was my neighbors next door, the Katimskis. They couldn't go, so my brother and I, fourth game of the World Series, in the left field out of bounds thing.
What was the name?
The Katimskis.
Wow. No Jews anywhere near this block.
No, I'm very Italian in my area. Very Italian, and I was scared. Like Lenny Bruce talks about that. He was always jealous of the Italian kids because they could take care of themselves.
And they had hair.
And that's right. So yeah, that was my team. And Jets Mets.
Jets Mets.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have that in your permanent record. Wow. I just saw us on the site where we're streaming live, and it looks like I'm talking to Matthew Perry.
How many World Series have you guys won since you've been in San Francisco?
Oh, wait. What's happening?
Oh, wow. This is unnecessary.
This is rich. This is rich. I'm rooting for San Francisco. How can you not root for them?
Because they were 5 outs away from winning the World Series when the Angels, in fact, ended up winning that year.
Oh, that's not. No,
5 outs away.
This is the year.
5 outs away.
5 outs.
Is that the name of your autobiography?
7th book. My first book is a sports book. It's called Hey, Those Are My Balls.
It's a nice day. Let's play 2. And the Jewish version of that. You know what? It's a little cloudy. Let's call it off. You know what? I have a stomach ache. I don't think I can play 1. Jews in sports.
How about
For
we play
600.
3 innings?
These are all correct and true. All right.
What does that mean?
You've been on the Twitter now how long?
I've been on Twitter for about a year. I don't know, 7 months, 8 months. I don't know.
Are you
8
familiar
months.
with a game that's called Who Tweeted?
No, Sam was talking to me about this in hushed tones. Don't let Kevin see me talking to you separately.
I was trying to
What?
give you strategy.
What's he talking about, Sam?
I wanted you to win, but now I'm going to be rooting against you.
The nice thing about getting strategy tips from Sam Levine is he's not condescending at all.
It is time, ladies and Jews, once again for Who Tweeted?
Jews is
Who
funny.
tweeted? Roll the thing.
Look, another graphic.
Wow. Who
Paris, Tyra, or Demi?
Or to me.
Oh, are those the people today?
Those are the people today, remember?
Are you Jerry Seinfeld all of a sudden? Where did you get that new delivery?
I don't know. It just came out.
Who are these people, seriously?
Tyra.
Okay.
Would be Tyra Newton. What's her last name?
Wow.
It's not Tyra Newton. I think it's Tyra Banks.
I believe
I
so.
think the Newton you're thinking about is the guy who did Gravity, right? I think that was just Newton.
Just Newton.
Sir Isaac Newton.
Sir Isaac?
Maybe it's Sir Isaac Banks.
Tyra Banks, Paris Hilton, Demi Moore.
Tyra Banks is she the one who gets into trouble a lot, or I always mix up. That's Naomi Campbell.
That is.
It's not a black thing. It's a models thing.
You see that
I
cover?
don't mix up black
It
people.
was good
That was
cover.
a beautiful
That was
cover.
very- that was
Tyra
very
has
good
had her own talk show for a while, and
She
she's
does the America's Next Top Model.
America's Top
Which one is Bill Cosby and which one is not Bill Cosby? Go ahead.
Thank you.
Do you understand the rules? Did you explain ahead of time?
I think I
we're
do.
gonna run through it again. Here we go.
We have buzzers.
Here's how you buzz in. You say your name.
I go, Andy.
Right, and then I point to you and you have 3
Why
seconds.
would I say my name?
Because I don't know who's talking. My face is buried in this.
Yeah.
If we both went buzz, we don't. She's not
I don't
sure
know who's
said
talking. I
buzz.
can't hear anything.
Yeah, you have so much on your plate.
I really do. It's a very full day for me when I come here.
All right.
So,
You'll say your name when you want to buzz in, and then you'll have
3 seconds to say Tyra, Paris,
Okay.
or Demi, whoever you think authored the tweet. For every correct answer you get, you're going to get 5 points.
Do I get the T-shirt no matter what?
Yes.
Okay.
Every time you buzz in, you get it wrong, you lose 3 points.
Okay.
Okay? But we're not playing for a T-shirt here, my friend. We're playing for, depending on where you shop, this could be worth as many as 5 to 10 T-shirts.
Is it a gift certificate?
Good for anywhere
it's a dancing Andrew Jackson.
in the world.
Oh my God! The
dance
pressure
that
is on.
It's not dancing today.
Well, we fold it in half normally, but that one's not crisp enough. I
Yeah, it
worry.
might not be crisp enough.
You know, you can tell here where the Illuminati is involved in all of the decisions.
Okay, we're playing for the dancing Andrew.
There it is. It's dancing a little bit. Anyway. Okay.
Passed out from dancing.
Are you ready for Who Tweeted?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Ready, sir.
Here we go. Tweet
Could
number
you have a
1.
little bit more of a build-up?
Yep, I sure could. Tweet number 1 that I'm reading from this clipboard to you,
On this very
Andy
clipboard,
Kindler, and you. You asked for this. I hope you like it.
I can get over it already.
Good morning, everyone. Making some yummy French toast right now. I love breakfast time.
Andy.
3 seconds.
Paris Hilton.
That is correct.
That's plus
I'm
5.
very impressed. That was a tough one.
Tough one because
Of course, it could have been Demi, right?
It could have. Well, it could have been
Or it
any
could
of
have been Tyra.
Any of the 3. That's
Okay.
what makes the game interesting. Tweet number 2. For all those confused, the movie Catfish is not a scary movie. Confused why the advertising is selling it that way. It is intense and honest.
Kevin to me.
That is correct.
We got a tie score.
Man,
All
that
right.
is very good.
Get serious.
Now
it's
it's
$20.
$20.
You know what? I swear to God that this just for some reason that's up the ante for me.
For some reason.
I guess $20.
Tweet number 3. Now, this one starts with a time of day.
Time of day?
Yep. 11:11. It is the reminder that we are all one and to stay on the path.
Andy. Paris Hilton.
That can't possibly be right.
Sorry, no.
That's Tyra Banks, I bet.
No, it's Demi Moore.
Oh, I would never have gotten that. Would you have gotten that as Demi Moore?
Yeah.
All right. What are you minusing 5? Where am I currently?
-3.
Oh, I see.
You're still plus 2.
Okay.
You're
okay.
all right.
Maybe I should have laid back more.
There's a strategy involved,
What
sir.
about this?
I allowed you to bury yourself.
Tweet number 4.
Yeah.
Who? Remember the show Who, What, or Where?
Yes.
I love that show.
Me too. Where?
Who? What? And then if you go, you could bet who, you could bet what, you could bet where. And if each contestant bet who, what, or where, he would say every time, "That's great, players. You've all broken through to the board. You all have a chance to add to your totals." And I would, as a kid, I would just would be in heaven.
Well, that is great, players. You've all broken through to the board. You've all have a chance to add to your totals with tweet number 4. Super duper shiny lip gloss is so not in right now, but I'm going to rock it anyways.
Andy. Tyra.
That's right!
Yes!
Nice going!
Pulled back ahead.
You are back in the lead, friend.
7.
Because she's a model. For modeling things.
Totally. She's not at all
So far,
insane.
nothing has been Paris, so I would guess Paris.
Next?
Getting your way.
You are wrong. The very
No,
first
we've had
tweet
the
was,
very first one was Paris.
That's what I said. She's already been hit, so don't expect there to be any pattern. That's what I meant to say.
Tweet
Number 5.
number 5.
We're halfway point.
Lovely evening with friends and family ruined by aggressive paparazzi. They are literally insane.
Kevin Paris.
That is correct.
New winner, new leader, that is.
leader. We have
10.
a new
I
leader.
was going to say Paris, but I guess I didn't say it.
But you just gave a speech about
Just
it.
thought about it.
Yeah, that was right.
10 to 7.
You guys
And
dissuaded
seven.
me.
It was really anyone's game.
Is this number
It really
6?
is. Tweet number 6.
3 left.
Going to crazy places looking for a mask for masquerade ball in France tonight. Crazy places.
Andy. To me.
Ooh, sorry.
Oh, damn
Paris. Definitely Paris.
Definitely Tyra.
Whoa.
Both
She's
wrong.
Paris, models Paris.
That was -3 for Andrew?
Yep.
How do I...
So
do I have
it's
to
a
get
6-point
the...
deficit right now.
And there's 2 left?
There's 2 left.
But the last one's worth extra points.
That's right. Tweet number 7. Deep breaths.
I like my guests to feel stress.
Went to the Michael's Art Supply store today.
Did you?
Bought a lot of fun art projects. Going to the Children's Hospital this week to do art with them.
Andy. To me.
I'm sorry.
How could that not be to me?
Son of a
I thought if
bitch.
I just said to me every time, at some point, I'd be...
He's +1.
Shockingly.
Fortunately for him, the last question's worth 10 points.
Shockingly, that was Paris.
That is Paris. That is shocking.
Well, see, we don't want them to all be obvious now, do we?
Oh, I see. I see.
trying
You
to.
guys
you
work
do.
on...
Jamie works hard on it.
You work in this...
Sure.
So off the... you know...
I have to read all of this crap. I know more about Paris Hilton than I would ever want to.
And by the way, she's kind of won you over a little bit.
She has.
Yeah.
She'll do that. She'll do that.
You started out with the hating, and now not so much.
I guess I wouldn't hate so much as I had no opinion.
Right. You took a
Right.
pass. You took 11
I
pass.
took a Core 11 pass.
Yeah. And now she's okay. Look
She
with the
works
kids.
hard. She's like how the Kardashians are doing it now. They're
Right.
making a name for themselves out of nothing, and they're doing it. I mean,
Yeah. But also, I like that she stopped by Michael's.
I love Michael's.
Right?
I have to go there get some Halloween garbage.
All
Yeah,
right.
and she did children's
restaurant, though?
art with the Children's Hospital kids.
Yeah.
Dudley Moore was involved in the Santa Monica restaurant called Michael's.
That's
Let's
right.
get back to
Supposed
the
to be-
game, though.
All right,
Well,
I'm
this
sorry.
is very exciting. We are at the 8th and final tweet worth 10 points.
Anyone's game.
Anyone's
As
game.
it's 10 to 1 right now.
Are you fixing it so I do win? So that'd be sad too.
Here we go.
It's worth 10 points.
10 points.
Well, so I have to guess because he's only going to lose 3.
Oh, you did this.
Andy,
Figure that out, did you?
Andy.
Well, yeah,
Don't
sorry.
ring it yet.
Yeah,
Don't ring it yet. Must go to bed. Early call time.
Andy!
Sweet.
Tyra. To me. Why does Tyra have an early call time? To me's the only one who acts in that group, right? It was to me, right?
That was the easiest of all of
I'm afraid that was, in fact, to me.
You get it.
But,
oh my God, I am terrible. I'm just lets me know that if everything fails, and it probably will, I shouldn't go into the game show racket.
You know what? Give me 20.
Okay,
This isn't enough.
Absolutely.
it's true.
It's not enough,
It's true.
it's not enough to win our own
Boy,
money
did
back.
I tank it.
Well, with a
Underneath.
score of +10 to -2.
He deserved it. He deserved it. He deserved it. I choked. This
choked.
is part of the self-deprecating school.
Yeah.
The reason why I did poorly today was I choked.
That's all right. You've got lots of practice.
Really?
No, it's a terrible thing.
Oh, because I choke a lot?
No.
Oh,
All I can think about is I'm going to go to Michael's. It's right around the corner.
I know.
yeah.
While we're here on camera together,
Yes.
I just want to talk about very quickly
Please.
how Annie and I played relatives.
Uncle and nephew.
On Uncle and Nephew on the Raising
Look at-
Dad
perfect,
program.
right?
Is this not?
Look
where's
at
that?
this.
Look at this. Look here, right there. How is this not a show yet?
Come on.
How networks
Sam, did you take my yarmulke?
Are you kidding? I've got 10. Why do I need yours?
Who put cheese in my matzo ball soup, Sam?
Who puts cheese in matzo ball soup? That's a ridiculous.
Let me tell you what you should do on this date. Do what I do when I was your age.
I'll do what you never did. Close. There. It's going to be.
Come on, folks.
Make
come on.
this happen.
Sam
It's
Levine,
available. Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
future star of Maury and Me.
Maury and Me. I love that.
Lame show, lame name. We've got another tweet 5 for you, sir.
Enough already, starring Sam Levine. Who needs it?
All right, this one comes to you from @Wrecked Dog.
Oh, he's good.
Sure. Itzhak Perlman or Steve Hawking?
Itzhak Perlman, forget that. Steve Hawking's getting on my nerves. Why would he get on my nerves?
It's ridiculous. What can you do to get on my nerves?
Why can't you just talk right already? I mean,
stop
seriously.
it. Stop it leaning on your...
Why do you have to put on airs?
Yes.
I'm bored with
Maybe
what
it
you're
wasn't a
saying.
big bang. Maybe it was a smaller bang.
Right?
Think of that?
Why can't it be a medium
I'm
bang?
pulling off my own thing there.
Why can't it be a medium bang?
Boom.
Somebody in the chat room just said, "Watch out, he'll roll over your foot."
That's pretty good. I rolled over your foot. Itzhak Perlman or Steve Hawking? We did that.
I'll go with it supper.
Escalator, do you walk or stand?
I stand. I love it. To me, that's life. That's as good as it gets, except for ecstasy. Is when you're on an escalator and you're not doing anything and you're going up. And then what I do is I try and stare at the people going the other way to see if they might recognize me. I was on Raymond.
Oh, both correct answers. Tweet number 5, number 3. Sing or dance?
I like to dance.
Do you?
And Sam hates my singing, so I'll go with
I
dancing.
love your
I do. I enjoy dancing. I think I dance not like Ellen DeGeneres because I thought So You Think You Can Dance was a documentary about Ellen DeGeneres and why she can't dance. No, I think I can dance ironically.
English lit or history?
I prefer English lit, but I like history too.
And lastly, and possibly most important.
Is my mother writing this?
Yes,
You know too much about me.
This one is clearly from your mom. Sephardic or Ashkenazi?
Ashkenazi, clearly. I don't know what the Sephardics were thinking. I'm also anti-vowels in Hebrew. I'm pro without the vowels.
Are you?
Let's do it. Baruch Hu es Adonai hamavarach. Baruch hamavarach le'olam v'ed. Take it away. Now you take it.
My family's so Reform, we're Catholic. So I'm not sure I can pick up that ball and run with it.
I killed him by bar mitzvah. The rabbi couldn't follow me.
I was reading in your dossier. I used to say I got 7 applause breaks during my
That's the
Haftorah.
same joke. We did the same jokes about a bar mitzvah.
It's pretty funny.
Oh, actually, that was the first time I did get censored. I wrote this. You could write your own original speech at the end of bar mitzvah, and I wrote, "It doesn't matter whether you're black or white, rich or poor, just as long as you're Jewish." I wrote that in. There was a small 13-year-old joke. I thought it was not bad.
Yeah.
He crosses out, "just as long as you're a good person."
No way.
That's what he wrote. He didn't want me to do that joke.
And where is he
Rabbi
now?
Levin. Rabbi Levin.
Where's Rabbi Levin now?
He works with Freddie Roman, and they do a double act.
In the skills.
In the skills.
Talk to me about the last comic standing. This was just this last year was the first
Just
time?
this last year.
And do we know if it's a continuing thing, or do they change every year? How
We
does it-
don't know, and then unfortunately, Greg Giraldo was one of the.
We should pay our respects now, please.
Yeah, he.
As tough as it is, I'm sure.
It
for
was.
you.
It's been just this just
Brutal,
a strange.
devastating week.
It was one of these things where I got to meet this guy, and I had worked with him on Root of All Evil, and I just loved him. I mean, I just got so close to him so fast, and he was so supportive, and he was so great, and
Yeah.
to me, the way he approached stand-up and the way. And working with him, I was just so inspiring because I just thought he was so hilarious, So that just hit us all in the stomach this week, really hard. So,
And I was reading today. There's a fund being put together to help with the 3 boys.
yeah, for his kids, which would be great. But also been reading a lot about him online that I didn't because I started out here, even though I'm from New York. I started out in L.A., so we weren't in the same circles. But I was I did the roast for Chevy Chase. That was his first roast. I had to follow Lisa Lampanelli,
Oy.
and it was like as I've said, it's the only gig I've ever done that was in danger of going into a second day. It started like 5 o'clock at night. By midnight, I went on after Lisa Lampanelli did like Christopher Reeve jokes, and it was like, oh God. So I bombed, and they cut me out of it. But that was like his start. Was on that one, and then we did Root of All Evil and did Last Comic Standing together, and we just like, he could not have been more supportive, and I just really love the guy. So. It's just extremely, extremely sad.
And
Did you know him pretty well? Or?
we did a show together, just one, and I was immediately taken with his act and his sort of sense of self backstage. And yeah, he struck me as someone who was an original thinker, which is also hard to come by in our line, since there's only 7 real original thoughts of anything. And that was the thing that took me the most, that I thought, this guy's, he's an original, and that's one of the things that always impresses me the most. But again, his nice, easygoing nature backstage.
He's so sweet. The guy was so sweet.
Which was sort of not in keeping with the personality on stage. You didn't expect him to be that sweet, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that was the thing too, is that he, this memory I have that I've been thinking about all week was like, I got to do stand-up on the last show, Last Comic Standing, so I was there, I'm doing stand-up, and then I looked out to like the judges' stand where we're all sitting, and he was like just smiling, and it was just like, I'll never forget that look. It was just such a great feeling, and that's the. I mean, I've never been in a situation where, because we saw like 400 comics in like come in, and we were in this like really intense for 3 days, like 16-hour days pretty much, and I did not have one moment where I felt like weird. I just felt like I just felt so close to him. He was so great to work with.
Right.
Natasha was, and we all 3 of us, Natasha Leggero and all 3 of us, we just worked together great. There was no strangeness at all or anything.
You think you'll get along as well next year when you're hosting Last Comic Standing with J-Lo and?
Yeah, well, I think we're hoping Ant will come back.
All right, as you gear up your Larry King game,
yes,
my friend. Shall I go over the rules again?
Yeah, go over the rules one more time.
The 3 important parts of the Larry King game.
Do I do this down the barrel, Kevin?
That'll be to your barrel, as it were. Finally, down the barrel. Bad Larry King impression. We'll start there. And then act out that moment for us when Larry shares something that, honestly, none of us want to know.
Okay.
It's that. And then when you go to the phones, if the name of the city is funny sounding, it's not going to hurt.
Yeah, okay. Can I do the actual thing that I used to do in my act about him, or no, don't do that one?
Well,
the Hitler one?
Let's do that first, because I love it.
Okay.
As a warm-up. But it's just not Larry sharing something.
No, it's not
inappropriate, right. But it is absolutely. Please share.
Yeah, it's Larry. The fact that he's, he always throws the softballs, and if you ever done anything horrible, you should go on his show, because he'll like, for the entire hour tonight, we have Adolf Hitler. Adolf, you are a brutal dictator. What projects do you have coming up? Anything you'd like to plug? So, hi. I'm Larry King. Can you tell by the guttural sound of my voice? Tonight on the show, we have Gary Condit for some reason. Not sure. A little behind the curve. I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you that I prefer ice milk. I like ice milk. I don't know what all the hubbub is about ice cream. I used to keep sherbet in my pants. And I had an uncle named Sherbet. True story. Tuscaloosa, Mississippi. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh, down the barrel. He brought the funny down.
Miami of Ohio. Hello.
He brought it all the way home. Andrew, I can't thank you enough.
This is wonderful.
I hope you enjoyed your stay. Can you believe that it was 93 minutes?
You are a warm man. You're an embracing man. You're an intimate man, and you've been playing footsie with me for the last 73 minutes, which I find strange.
In a good way strange, or in an off-putting way?
I could have done a Dobie Gillis hat joke. I didn't go do that.
You didn't go there to Dobie Gillis.
I like to do a Dobie Gillis reference.
Is there anyone better looking than the Dobie Gillis Warren Beatty?
Corey.
Corey. I'm sorry, my bad. All right, now, again, honestly, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
It meant a lot to me, and it was something that I'd wanted to do for a while. So that
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it
me.
very
I really
much.
appreciate you having me.
One last thing you have to do is sit there uncomfortably while I wrap things up.
Absolutely.
Staring down that barrel, if I may. All right, so take a look at the calendar for upcoming shows. We have some goodies, some good ones. Very excited about those as well as past shows. So don't forget to take a trip down memory lane, otherwise known as the library. That's the 17th time I've said the word. All this time, the 94 minutes that we've been conducting this particular episode, the crew has been just beyond the walls of this studio. God knows doing what. I wonder if there were a camera on, if there were only a way to see what they'd been up to all this time.
Oh, I didn't think you could smoke in here. Oh, no. Oh, my Grotman.
We're doing effects now.
Oh, no, it's out.
Kids, we're doing effects now. That was fantastic. Hilarious comedy effects. Suddenly we have a budget now.
When's that going to be on Negrin's Reel?
We're going to make people think that was Negrin's Reel. We're going to make people think that we have a budget with gags like that. All right, my guest next week, Josh Negrin. We have...
You know he thinks you're serious, and now he's like preparing mentally.
He's already starting to work on the questions.
He's already got his Larry King game.
My favorite part about having Josh Negrin on the show, because that day is coming, is that it will mean that J-Mac will have to do the research. That will be.
I think J-Mac just quit.
All right. I finally walked someone during the show. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next time, and as always, until then, get out of my face.
Is that your? I like that. Is that your tagline?
Yeah.
That's very.
But none of the rain. He's dry, but he's an alcoholic. He's hosting this train wreck again and again. And he wears a hat. He's